Why do some Asian countries eat dog meat? This question is frequently asked with a strong bias and preconceived judgment. However, the truth is far more nuanced. Not all Asians eat dog meat. In fact, the vast majority do not. The practice is not driven by barbarism, cruelty, or a desire for something weird. Instead, it is a deeply rooted historical, survival-based, and cultural practice that stretches back thousands of years. It primarily originated from periods of extreme poverty, chronic protein shortages, and practical necessity, eventually evolving into a regional habit in specific areas and communities. To most Americans and people in Western cultures, the mere thought of eating dog meat feels deeply uncomfortable, even repulsive. But perhaps we should ask a more honest and revealing question instead. Why don't we eat dogs ourselves? Is it simply because dogs are cute and adorable? If so, that reasoning falls apart quickly. We regularly eat lambs and calves, both of which are incredibly cute and innocent looking. Is it because dogs are intelligent and emotionally complex? That argument is also weak. Scientific studies consistently show that pigs are at least as intelligent as dogs, and in many cognitive tasks, they even outperform them. Pigs can play video games using joysticks, recognize themselves in mirrors, learn tricks quickly, remember complex information for years, and demonstrate emotional intelligence and empathy. Despite all this, bacon remains one of America's most beloved and iconic foods. So if cuteness and intelligence are not the real reasons, what truly determines which animals we accept as food and which we protect as family? This contradiction lies at the heart of the discussion: historical and survival context. For thousands of years across East Asia, large livestock such as cattle and pigs were expensive, scarce, and strictly protected. Cows in particular were considered invaluable living assets, essential for plowing rice fields and sustaining agriculture. Killing a cow for meat often required official permission and was seen as wasteful or even punishable. Dogs, by contrast, were far more practical. They were easy and inexpensive to raise, reproduced quickly, required little space and food, and could thrive on scraps. When a dog grew old, became sick, or died naturally, its meat became a valuable source of protein that would otherwise go to waste. This necessity became even more critical during times of crisis. Throughout history, including major famines, prolonged wars like the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, Chinese civil wars, Japanese colonial rule in Korea, and post-war poverty in Vietnam, dog meat often served as a last resort survival food when other protein sources were unavailable. What began as a desperate measure for survival in harsh conditions gradually became embedded in certain regional food cultures over generations. Why do some Asians eat dog meat? And why is it rapidly disappearing after over 1,000 years? Eating dog meat has been documented since ancient times in China. Records go back to at least 500 BC or even earlier. At times, it was considered a normal food and was even used in ancestral rituals or as medicine. It was believed to warm the body in winter, boost strength, and cure certain illnesses. Confucius himself is said to have enjoyed dog meat, which earned it the nickname Confucius meat. In Korea, the practice dates back to the Three Kingdoms period thousands of years ago. It became more common during food shortages, especially under Japanese colonial rule and during the Korean War. In Vietnam, it was not an ancient native Vietnamese tradition. Historically, Vietnamese people viewed dogs primarily as guard animals. The practice largely spread through Han Chinese migrants who fled chaos into northern Vietnam in the 18th to 19th centuries. Over time, it became more common in certain regions, especially the north and among some male social groups. Cultural beliefs that developed later. Many people, especially older generations, believe dog meat has medicinal properties. It strengthens yang, increases stamina, relieves joint pain, treats skin conditions, or cools the body during hot weather. In Korea, it's traditionally eaten during the hottest days of summer, bok nal. In Vietnam, some still eat it at the end of the lunar month to ward off bad luck and bring good fortune. In certain communities, eating dog meat, often with alcohol, also became a symbol of masculinity, strength, and male bonding. However, these beliefs came later and were not the original reason. Important point: dog meat has never been everyday food for most Asians. The vast majority do not eat it regularly. It remains a regional specialty, consumed on specific occasions, and is mainly sustained by older generations or small groups. In China, most people have either never tried it or eat it very rarely. In Korea, people under 30 almost never eat it. How thin is the line between pet and food? As living standards improved, dogs stopped being emergency protein. They became family members, given names, photographed, and cared for like loved ones. And it's precisely at this moment that a deeper question arises. What is the real boundary between a pet and food? Dogs are intelligent, emotional, and loyal, but pigs are often more intelligent. They can play video games, recognize themselves in mirrors, and respond to their names. Cows feel pain and fear. Chickens have emotions too. To understand how fragile this line is, look at other animals humans once ate freely, but now consider taboo or have banned. Horses, widely eaten in ancient and medieval Europe, but later became unacceptable in the US, UK, and Australia because horses came to symbolize loyalty and companionship. Commercial horse slaughter has been effectively banned in the US since 2007. Cats. Taiwan banned cat meat entirely in 2017. The United States followed in 2018. Whales and dolphins. Banned in many countries because they are highly intelligent and have complex social structures, yet still legally hunted in Japan, Norway, and Iceland. Owls, sea turtles, and many others were once eaten, but are now strictly protected by law. These examples show us, is morality truly universal and objective, or is it largely a product of culture and emotion? If the criterion is don't eat intelligent animals that can feel pain, then pigs, cows, and chickens should also be off the menu. If the criterion is don't eat animals that have lived closely with humans, then it's purely emotional and cultural, if not a universal principle. The reality today, 2025 to 2026. The biggest change in 1,000 years, South Korea. A full ban on breeding, slaughtering, and selling dog meat takes effect in 2027. Nearly 80% of dog meat farms have already closed. The younger generation sees dogs only as pets. China. Since 2020, dog meat is no longer classified as livestock in many cities. The Yulin Festival still exists, but participation has dropped sharply. A 2025 survey showed that over 87% of people rarely or never eat dog meat. Vietnam. Around 5 million dogs are still consumed annually, but young people, especially in the South and major cities, increasingly oppose it and view dogs as companions. Public opinion is shifting noticeably. The reasons for this change are clear. Rising living standards mean people no longer need dog meat to survive. Dogs have become beloved pets. Younger generations are exposed to global culture and the growing animal rights movement. The most beautiful part is that this transformation is coming from within, driven by the compassion of young Asians themselves, not forced from the outside. Eating dog meat was once a practical survival solution in times of poverty and food scarcity, just as many other cultures around the world once ate horses, wild animals, or even dogs during war. As societies develop, emotional bonds with dogs grow stronger, and the line between pet and food shifts.
Okay, you can eat.
This
Good
story is
boy.
not meant to defend or condemn. It's to help us understand that culture is not fixed.
Hi there.
It evolves with living conditions,
good boy.
awareness, and compassion.
You're so
Today,
happy.
dog meat is gradually disappearing across Asia, not because it was forcefully banned, but because young Asians themselves no longer want to eat it. Are we witnessing a genuine moral progress in how humanity treats animals, or is this simply another normal cultural evolution? And here's a final thought. If you support the idea that dogs should no longer be food, but you still happily eat pork or chicken, are you being inconsistent with your own principles? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. If this video made you think differently about the relationship between humans and animals, please share it.